Hey, everybody. Welcome. Hope you're having a good Thursday. You probably noticed we're not split screen today. That's because Taylor is actually on location shooting some video, doing a video shoot with Jonathan on our team, working with a client to capture their best side and create a really good image for them. So he is currently in the field and working in that today. So I'm with you, and we're going to be talking about a pretty important issue we've talked about before. We've been talking about, if you've been following our previous last two episodes of Spark Live, then you know that we've been talking about reviews and how those impact, or what the trends are anyway with reviews, according to recent annual customer survey about reviews. And that was really interesting. And so now we're going to be talking about some of the more practical applications about why you should be getting reviews, specifically around how it impacts. Let me just pull up my stuff here. There it is, how it impacts the map pack and the organic search rankings. So in Google search results, when you're searching for a local business, of course, the first thing up at the top is those pack of businesses on the map that you can see. And right there next to each one of their names is the number of stars that they have and the number of reviews that they've gotten. So that's important. But how does that actually impact it, right? I mean, you might be thinking, does it really, do reviews always come up when you search? No, they don't. If you have the most reviews, then do you always come up in the top of Google Business Profile listings? Well, what about, well, anyway, let's just jump in. If you're watching and you'd like to, please let's go ahead and click like or the heart button just to let us know that you're here and that you're enjoying what we're doing. And then I'm going to queue up here and talk about reviews, why they don't really matter in local search. I don't know. I'm reading Taylor's notes here. This one doesn't make sense to me. It did earlier. I don't understand why it doesn't now. What I really want to talk about, though, is the fact that one of the things that we talked about in the survey results earlier was in the last episode was that many people now are using reviews at a higher level than they ever have. In other words, it's an important part of their criteria for choosing a business more than ever before. And not only that, but many people are starting to use search terms more and more that actually indicate what they're looking for is not just a business, but they're looking for a business in their area with really good reviews. So some of those search terms would be things like which HVAC company in Nashville has the best reviews, or 4 and 5 star review chimney service company in such and such town. So this is how people are starting to search, and Google understands that search term and will respond accordingly and show reviews. So that is important when considering whether or not reviews are something that you're going to spend any time really going after. So did you know that reviews also impact map ranking and local organic ranking? So it doesn't mean that you're always going to be first. It doesn't mean that you'll get preferential treatment in terms of like above everybody else because everybody's playing the review game. But it does impact your ability to show up where you want to show up in map rankings and local organic rankings. So let's talk a little bit about that. Customer reviews are a powerful indicator of the standing of a local business within its community. More positive reviews received on a consistent basis will have a positive effect on a business's ability to rank, to be seen, and gain targeted local traffic. And the importance of the review specific characteristics to the map pack are kind of ranked as follows. So high star rankings first, anything 4 and 5 stars, keywords in Google reviews. So actually looking for people who are talking about specific services or specific products, specific things that are related to the business that's important. They're looking for the names of people. Sometimes that's important too. So reviews confirm for Google a lot of the associations that it's trying to make just from the data about your website. And when it sees some information reflected in the Google reviews that are also present online, then it helps to reinforce those keywords that Google finds, helps to reinforce those connections. And thus you see an increase in your search results. And lastly, the quantity of reviews also matters. So when Google sees that this business has 23 reviews and another business has 223 reviews, then it doesn't think that those two businesses are equal. It actually has a way of determining which one of those businesses actually is a stronger business. And it lumps that all together with a lot of other factors. It's not just reviews. Keep in mind that Google is looking at well over 200 different data points or different characteristics or attributes about a business profile online to make a determination about which one should rank highest. But reviews are consistently being shown now to have an impact in those data attributes that Google considers and looks at. Let me jump over to the comments real quick. Jerry's saying, good information always. One of the ways to build what we call your community's authority. Just makes good sense for any business. Absolutely. Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, it does. It builds authority. When people see those reviews, when they read them, when they're starting with reviews, the reason they're starting with reviews is because people trust that the community is going to say things about a business that are accurate and true about their experiences, and that's going to reflect in their decision about what they're going to do. So let's talk about the characteristics about reviews that were deemed to be the most important things, specifically with your Google business profile. Okay, so these are the attributes that cause Google business profile ranking to be higher. All right, it's quite a list. Positive sentiment in review text. So does the review, and this is beside the point of stars, like how many stars they gave, they're actually looking to see if the text or the actual written review has a positive sentiment. The recency of reviews, how long ago was the last review given? That seems to matter to Google, and it also matters to consumers, which is why it matters to Google. The presence of owner responses to reviews. Google is looking to see, does the owner, the person who's claimed this account, which by the way, if you've never claimed your Google business profile, where all your reviews live, man, that's like playing Russian roulette. I mean, so much of your business strength relies on owning that and claiming that so that no one else can tinker with it. So make sure that you have gone out and claimed that listing for yourself, that Google business profile, so that you have those reviews and access to those reviews to be able to go in and respond to them, whether they're positive or negative. But when Google sees that the owner is there and present and responding to reviews, it has a very good impact in your Google business profile ranking showing up. The quantity as well as the quality of positive review attributes. So that's kind of all of this together, the high star ratings, the keywords, the quantity of them, the quality of them, the positive sentiment, all of those things really does kind of adds up. And, Google's never going to share with us, or at least I say never. Interesting case just recently in the EU, European Union has decided in their court system that Google has to show and have a little more transparency with regard to how they determine which search results they're showing. And I don't know how they're going to do that without tipping their hat on, or, giving clues about what's in their algorithms more specifically. So, and do it in a way that consumers can understand, because I'll tell you right now, of the 200 attributes that Google is looking at, some of them are pretty esoteric. I mean, they're not things that you would just immediately think, oh, well, that makes sense. And of course, that's one of the ranking factors. That just makes sense. Some of them are a little bit strange. So, but that was interesting that happened in the EU. So it'll be interesting to see if something like that eventually comes to the States, and if so, if how Google's going to thread that needle and show a little more transparency about itself in its search results. But all of these things, right now, Google doesn't tell us, but these are the things that we've seen just in our own research, in the research of the search community and marketing community about what really is impacting it. Okay. So let's jump and talk about this. How do you get more reviews? We've done classes on this. We've talked about this at various trade shows and conventions. We've done online classes and courses on getting more reviews. We've created software to help business owners get more reviews and manage those reviews and even reply to those reviews. And so we know a few things about how to do this. And we've tried, goodness knows, dozens of ways to try to increase reviews for our customers, to give them the tools that they need. So what I'm about to share with you is really based on that research and what we've seen is most effective and really works. And believe me, when we see somebody else doing it a particular way, we're asking questions about how many reviews they're getting and how that's working for them and why they chose to do it that way and what the effectiveness of that has been for them. So we reverse engineer things all the time and certainly steal good ideas wherever we see them and implement for the strategy. And most of that, what I mean is like telling our clients, this is what we've seen works best. Okay, so let's talk about those specific things right now. Number one way to get more reviews, and it almost goes without saying, but I gotta say it because so many people still don't do it, and that's just asking for the review. Just asking for the review. Sales 101, ask for the sale, right? You get to the point that you've shown somebody everything that you can about a product. You know that they're interested, but they're still not saying yes. Sometimes the only thing they need to get them off center is just asking, so are you ready to go? Are you ready to do this? And that gets them to go, yeah, okay, let's do it. So reviews are no different. People have an expectation that leaving a review for a business is an important thing that they can do. They understand they have power here. They understand that they have a sense of maybe not responsibility to the business to do it, because they don't. It's a nice thing that they can do. It's a favor that they can grant, if you will. But if they're not asked for a review, a lot of times they just won't make time to do it. So asking for the review is really effective. In fact, businesses that don't ask for a review versus businesses that do, I would say probably on order of about 3 times more reviews for people who ask for a review. And I mean consistently asking, having a system in place that asks for the review. One thing that we know that works really well with getting more reviews is being consistent in creating an expectation that your customer has that the leaving of the review at the end of the job is just an expected part of this transaction. That in our business, we haven't concluded business between us until our customer is satisfied enough to actually go and leave a review. So setting those expectations from the very beginning, all the way back to day one when the customer first calls your business and schedules an appointment, communicating with that customer about what to expect. Okay, we've got you scheduled, Mrs. Smith. That means that we're going to be coming out to your business on such and such day, such and such time. It'll probably be one technician, but he might have a helper with him. And, this is what's going to happen. We're going to come in, we're going to move some things. We're going to lay down this. We're going to do the work. We're going to then ask you if everything's good, give you a chance to check out the work. We'll go over everything with you at that point. Once the bill is paid and everything, and then once you're happy, we're going to provide a link to you that where you can go and leave your feedback for us in a public review. So just to let you know. So you're already setting that expectation from the very beginning about exactly how this customer journey is going to go. And if you deliver on that, right? I mean, the moment comes to ask for the review, and they receive that link, maybe a text message, or if the technician is just standing in front of them and hands them an iPad, or texts a link directly to their phone. All of these are ways that we've seen that work. But if the customer already expects that this is going to happen, and then it happens, what have you done? You've not disrupted them or made them angry because you're asking for a favor now. You've already set the expectation. This is just part of it. And they've already agreed that, they want your service, and that they want everything that you're going to do for them. And this is just part of what happens now. This is just an expectation. So it works incredibly well. Your technicians have to be courageous enough to ask for the review, though, and to do that consistently with every single person. And the reason I say your technicians need to be involved, I mean, does it work if you go back, your technician leaves and goes on about his day, and 2 or 3 days later, a review email shows up or a text shows up from the business who has obviously batched together a whole lot of customers all at once, and then sent out the link to all of them to say, here, would you please leave us a review? Does that work? Yeah. I mean, you'll get a few, but it's old bait at that point. And what I mean is, I'm sure you've watched the Olympics, right? Downhill slope skiing, or even the one that's the big ramp where they jump, the ski jump. Well, think of the very top of that ramp as the moment that the business has been done, right? The work has been completed. The technician is standing in front of the customer still. And this is the last moment that you're going to have with the customer before the customer goes, about his business and the technician leaves. That's the moment that you're most likely to get a review. And after that, right, now the skier takes off and is starting downhill. That downhill slope, that's about the speed at which you lose the ability to get a review, okay? It happens fast. The drop off in terms of the likelihood of you being able to successfully get a review is steep, and it happens really fast. So within hours, that customer has moved on to other things, concluded the business, and moved on to other things, and they're not looking back. And they may get an email, they may get a text message, but that was yesterday. I'm focused on other things. This is just in my way now. The moment that you have the most likelihood of getting a review is right then, when you're still in front of the customer. What we love to do is text a link to them right then and say, here's your link, Mrs. Smith. In fact, why don't you go ahead and click on that link? Let's just make sure it still works, because sometimes Google changes the link, right? That's your excuse. And so now Mrs. Smith clicks on the link and takes it. She turns her phone around and she shows you, and she says, is that what you mean? And you say, yeah, that's the right spot. You just need to scroll down right there. Okay, you see where the stars are? Okay, good. I'm not going to hang around while you leave a review, but I just wanted to make sure that worked for you. Thank you so much, and on the way right now. So this person has everything they need. They're brought right to the edge of the water, and now let's see if this horse is going to drink. Well, it's going to be much more likely in that case for the customer to do what you're asking them to do. So ask, and ask fast, and provide links. That's the next one. If you ask a customer, yeah, we're on Google, just, do a search for us, and then click here, and then, move over here and look for the place where it says write a review, and then click that, and then scroll down, and then log in, and then, no, people don't do that. They don't do that. I mean, occasionally you've got some super trooper who's, one heck of a customer who loves to leave reviews. Unfortunately, sometimes they're the ones that love to leave bad reviews, but they're just not going to, unless you give a link directly to the place where they can leave a review without having to click around and hunt, then you're losing opportunities to get reviews. You want more reviews, include links. Promote it. Again, this goes back to the idea of from setting the expectation from the very beginning that you ask for reviews, and that your customers are happy customers who leave reviews. And so by doing that, you're going to get a lot better response. Promote it in different places. Put it in your invoice, the online invoice that you send them in an email. Down at the very bottom in your signature, have a link in your email that says, please leave us a review. You can put it on your website. You can put it in any digital place where somebody can click to leave a review. Promoting that is important. Promoting the fact that you have a lot of reviews is also important. Things like truck wraps, see our amazing Google reviews. Just a quick statement like that just lets people know you're confident that you do a good job, and your customers have said as much. So you're not tooting your own horn, you're letting your customers do it, but you're promoting the fact that they do it. Okay, what if I get a negative review? Oh, I should say, before we go on to this one, let me just say that the most valuable type, I should say, of review that you can get is one that comes directly from your Google business profile. So when you're linking, make sure Google has a couple of ways to get to the place where people can leave a review. The place you want them to go is the link that is inside your Google business profile. And it's a little hunt and peck sometimes to find it, which is why you always want to supply it. But if you can provide the link there, then people will go directly into your Google business profile and leave the link from there. And that seems to be the highest value, or the most value type of review that you can receive. According to review trackers, an online service, Google reviews account for 57.5% of all of the online local reviews, with Facebook being pretty far behind that in second place at 19%. So that, just to give you an idea, Facebook reviews are great. If you can get one, you should absolutely get one. But Google is still like the lion's share of them. And then Bright Locals report recently in 2020 noted that 72% of US consumers have written a review for a local business. So it's not uncommon now for your customers to have left reviews somewhere for someone. So it's not like you're asking them some crazy question and they're going to look at you like you're some alien from another planet when you say, would you leave us a review? They know the drill. They've done it, right? 72% of them have done it already. So asking for them is not going to come as a big surprise. And it's something that they understand the process of already. Okay. So what if I get a negative review? Well, it's not the end of the world, first of all. It happens to everybody eventually. And there's no business out there who doesn't get a negative review at some point. And sometimes they're earned. So, I mean, everybody has a bad day. You might have a disgruntled employee that you should have cut loose 3 weeks ago, and now he's causing damage. It could be that you have an unreasonable customer and the review was not earned. It could be that it's not even a legitimate customer. It's somebody else who's trying to tank your business. There are a lot of reasons for a negative review. All of them are necessary to kind of understand, but let's just talk about some of those situations here and talk about a strategy for what to do. The first thing that you need to do is respond. Never let a negative review, I mean, you don't want to let any review go without some kind of response from the owner or from the business. If it's a good review, thanking them for it. But if it's a bad review, that requires a little more social graces, a little more diplomacy, if you will, to defuse the bomb, because handling it the wrong way, and all of us have seen examples of what it looks like when a business owner goes toe-to-toe with a negative reviewer, and how ugly it can get, and how it's never going to end well for the business if you are a business owner and decide to engage that way with a negative reviewer. So the first thing you want to do is acknowledge the review, and then try to get it offline. I mean, try to move the conversation offline. You're not going to get the review offline, but try to move the conversation into an offline forum. So a common response would be, Mrs. Smith, I'm so sorry to hear that you had a bad experience with us. I'm the manager or I'm the owner of the business, and I would very much like to talk with you a little more about what you experienced and see what we can do to make this right. It's my goal to make sure that this doesn't end here, that we are able to successfully serve you. So please, if you would, give me a direct call our office and ask for me directly. My name is such and such, I'm the owner, and let them know that you're calling. I've already told them your name, your username, and they're expecting us to be in touch. Okay, so whatever it is, something like that. I mean, a little shorter than that, perhaps. I'm kind of riffing on the spot here, but the gist of it is acknowledge the review, acknowledge the experience, and then ask that person for more information in an offline place where you can help to solve the issue. So now we're taking it away from the online forum. The last taste that anybody has in their mouth about that negative review is, here we have a business owner or a manager who's very attentive and wants to make sure that this gets taken care of. Well, that's great to see. That gives me a confidence that if something happens in my transaction with this company, they're going to make it right. Okay, so that's what you want to leave. That's the note you want to leave it on. If it's a negative review from somebody that you don't think is a real customer, it's okay to say, Mrs. Smith, I'm hearing what you're saying, but I've looked everywhere in our customer records and I can't seem to find you. Are you sure that that you have the right company? Because sometimes we get confused with other companies in our area. I'm happy to talk to you though if that's the case, and feel free to give me a call. So you're casting a little bit of doubt there that it was a legitimate customer. That's only if you think it wasn't a legitimate customer. If you know it was a legitimate customer, but you're trying to cast doubt on it anyway, that can backfire on you, because I've seen customers come back and go, oh no, I'm a real customer. Here's my invoice number and here's what you did. And I talked to so-and-so and they were my technician and I have pictures, right? Now you've turned it into a thing. So you really only want to do that if you expect or suspect that this is not a legitimate review and that it's coming from either a competitor or someone who really has made a mistake and left a negative review for the wrong company. Okay. So those are some examples of how to respond to reviews. I mean, we could teach a whole course. We regularly have discussions in our office. We've worked with PR people. We've hired PR people. We've had PR people on our staff with PR degrees and backgrounds who were experts at defusing those situations and responding elegantly. We've learned a lot through the years about how to do that. So if you ever have a question, you can always chat us up and we can help steer you through some of that. And it's a service we provide for all of our full service customers. All right. Social proof is absolutely the currency of the digital world. It's not Bitcoin. Okay. That's not the currency of the digital world. The currency of the digital world is proof from other people that something is good or something is desirable or something is the thing that I need. And people look to social proof like reviews to make their decisions. So don't allow yourself to believe that reviews just don't matter. Figure out a way to start getting them, put together a plan and a strategy and implement that, a standard procedure in your business to get more reviews. You won't be sorry. It's going to work out well for you and be a good thing, even if one or two of them are negative reviews every once in a while. So I hope that's been helpful. We're at time, so thank you all. Oh, I've got a couple of comments. Let me get to those real quickly. Chuck Roydhouse, same concept of how to close, to convert estimates on site into on-site contracts. Do someone's homework for them, make it easy for them to either review or to get the job scheduled. Absolutely, I agree. Every decent salesperson and trainer that I know that trains techs in the field would absolutely agree. You get the sale right then, remove as many obstacles and barriers, and time is a barrier, right? The longer it sits, the less likely you're going to get that job. Get them scheduled right then if you can. get the review right then, ask and get them to make a decision, help them make a decision. You're actually being helpful to them as well, because many people like me, I'm not a fast decision maker, but when I feel supported in making the right decision, and I know that I don't feel that there's risk involved in that decision, I'm much more likely to make it quickly. So that's a great point, Chuck, that you bring up. Also remember, he goes on and says, also remember the response is also for the general public, seeing that you're caring and proactive. Turn a negative into a positive. Yes, that is exactly the goal in responding to a negative review. Leaving on a high note, or at least on the note that this isn't finished and we're going to have more conversations about this somewhere else where it's not visible, because I want to respect your privacy, right? So that's the goal. Very, very good comments, Chuck. Thank you for that. I wore purple just for you today too, bud. All right, that's it. Everybody, appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for the likes. And also consider sharing this podcast with other people that you know. Just let them know that you watch, that you're getting value from it. That would be very helpful. You can also let them know, and for you as well, that sparklive can now be found as a podcast. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, other players that are out there. This is available not only as a video live stream on Facebook and YouTube, but also after the fact as an audio recording in those places too. So if you can't catch us online, you can watch the replays on our Facebook page, but you can also catch it as a podcast right there where you normally do. Okay, next week we are talking about our visuals, the future of Google search. This is going to be a really interesting conversation. Some big shifts and changes are happening with AI and some of the newest technology that Google is employing to make its search features more useful to consumers. And it's becoming less of a text-heavy place and more of a visual-heavy place. And we're going to talk about how that impacts you and your service business next week. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We will talk to you later. Have a great rest of the week.